So I have two presentations about two projects. The first one is called Miele. It's a motorway of the sea project. It is still running. It started September 2010 and it will finish end of this year. Cos'è questo? Ah, sorry. Tecnologia. Ok. Dove cavolo? Perso controllo. Okay, you have the slide in your documentation, so that you have a lot of details here if you want to have more information about that. But Miele is about e-maritime, and this is the same slide I shown you before. It's about single window, specifically about single window. What is important to know about Miele, other than the technical details that we can avoid to go into, is that there is a directive, a European directive, Directive 65/2010, that is saying that in June 2015, all the European ports should have a single window, specifically for reporting formalities, mandatory reporting formalities from vessels to the port, at least for that, not for all the processes we have seen before, at least for mandatory reporting formalities from vessels to ports. And if not, if the ports are not able to do that, there should be at least a national one dealing with this. The reason is that the main reason is, okay, to have less paper, less processes, faster and more effective processes, but to have the reporting formalities delivered only once when a vessel is coming out from outside Europe to in Europe, and then from the port single window in one port to the national one, and from national one to another one, and to the port, to other ports that the vessel will call later on, in order to avoid, this duplication of information. Now, from what I know, is really a mess for shipping agents that should act as on behalf of the ship owner to deliver different information, so different port, so the reason behind these directives to have a more homogeneous approach to the maritime sector. And this is something that you can read later on about the Directive 65. And these specifically are the mandatory reporting formalities. They are the so-called FAL, the FAL form. There are 7 FAL forms that has been decided at worldwide level. There's an important difference between the maritime domain and other domains. Is that in maritime domain, there is one international worldwide entity, that's IMO, the International Maritime Organization, that is ruling the maritime world domain worldwide. Okay, this exists also in air, but not certainly in ITS or not certainly in freight, where this small business related. So it means that at IMO level, so worldwide, there are some mandatory formalities for vessels arriving in a port, and specifically the first 7 of the FAL forms are mandatory. There is the general declaration of about the ship, the cargo declaration, the ship's stores declaration, the crew, the passengers list, the dangerous goods, and also the maritime declaration of health. So these are mandatory all over the world, but the way in which they are delivered now, it's fully different, with a lot of paper, different format, different standard, also we did not discuss about technology and standard, but there are several ways of exchanging information, fully different, so different, not compatible with one to each other, very difficult to be reconcile. It's very fragmented work. So, but the overall scope is to support the simplification of this. So the overall scope is to have a single point of contact with the competent authorities. And this is interesting because it's another definition of a single window that is part of the Miele project to implement it, to demonstrate. And this is from the World Council organization. The definition is a single window environment sure is a complex technical issue, but it cannot work without the politics and other non-IT issues being examined first. And please be sure, this is a document coming for a worldwide association. Please be sure to get the policy, legal, and administrative frameworks analyzed and sorted before looking at technical options. It's exactly what I told you before. You know, so technology is not a problem. Before starting, legal things, very important in this domain. Administrative things, processes, framework should be analyzed before. I may say, I may have the consensus building between operators. That's part of the stuff. But okay, you have some information from Miele, but the main idea of Miele is to build some piece of technology that is exactly doing the job of reconcile different information transmitted in different format in order to have a unique point of contact that can later on deliver information in a different way. I give you this example. Miele is delivering at European level between the member states, between the countries that are participating in the project, that are Italy, Spain, Portugal, Cyprus, and Germany, a so-called MMW means Miele middleware, technologically speaking, is a middleware, so it's a system that is upon others, and the scope of this middleware is to link processes and exchange of information between different national single windows in a way in which you see these are the countries, Italy, Portugal, Cyprus, Spain, and Germany. You see that they are different. So probably they use different interchange points, and the scope of the middleware is exactly to try to connect and take into account the differences in standards in exchange of information, and to have only a unique system able to pass an information from Italy to Germany and from Germany to the port of the next port of call of the ship. Give you an example. This is one of the examples translated at the country level, Italian level. So the figure before was at European level. At the Italian level, there is exactly the same concept. That means to have a national point of contact that in this case is called SPOC, means for single point of contact. It's a national single point of contact in which, for instance, port authorities using different formats, or control border protection, or health authority, maritime authorities, customs can exchange the information using this middleware that is translating different languages mainly and redirecting the information in a unique way, specifically having in mind the mandatory file forms we have been discussing before, specifically, not only, but specifically. These are some results that we have achieved. You can, they are a bit technical, so you can read it later on if you want, but what is important is the stakeholders consultation. We have some so-called interoperability needs. Miele is about interoperability of different systems, and in order to know which are the requirements and the needs in terms of interoperability, there are two types of needs. One is technical, okay, different standards. I send you information with ADI format, but you send me in XML or EDIFACT or whatever, or using web services or whatever. And this is technical part, technical stuff. And then there are other interoperability needs that are not strictly technical, and we have been discussing with different stakeholders in the countries in order to understand that, in order to create a basis to deliver an effective demonstration of that. These are the ICT standards I told you before. There are so many, then okay, it's not the case to go into details. These are different way of weighing the same things. You have the file forms here, you have the single point of contact at the Italian level here, and you have all the actors of a specific process or chain involved. These are also, this is mentioned also AIDA, that's the single window of customs, of national customs. There is the Maritime Authority for the so-called VTMIS, that's the traffic management system on the sea. The Control Border Protection and also the Port Authority, and also some private stakeholders for some more business-to-business oriented processes. It's, this is an important part, the implication of the directive. The directive, just to underline it, is mandatory. Yeah? The application of the directive at national level, the translation in the national law is mandatory. When there is a European directive, member states are obliged to translate it in the national rule, the national law. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, and in principle they should receive penalty for that, you know. But this is another story. But it is mandatory, and in this respect, there are some important implications of Directive 65 that are to have structured information exchange between actors only once. This is important. Reporting formalities should be delivered only once from the maritime side to the land side. The single point of contact to be interfaced with national administrations. Only one point to be only one single point of contact that is taking care of delivering information. The fact that also it's mainly business to administration side, the Directive 65, but also business to business processes can be taken into account. And for IMO worldwide maritime things, this should be done irrespective from flag. It means that, you know, that, I mean, this is a very complex, again, argument, the flag, how flag are used in the maritime world. I'm not absolutely an expert on that, so I'm not going to say any words on that. Luca knows for sure better than me this word. It's very complicated. The way in which flags are used or decided.
Right, the sovereign about a state, I mean, depends on the flag. With the 6 miles rule, where is international law, but once you are within the 6 miles range, you are sovereign based on the flag you fly. The ship flies, but
it's complicated. But what is important in terms of directive, that this the directive is mandatory for irrespective of flag. So it is not only for Europe, but I mean from whatever flag the ship might have, and they have. Very strange flag sometimes, you know, not really understandable from outside if you don't know the maritime Grillo's flag, the next one. These are the main functionalities of a single window, national single window: redirect messages, translate different formats, integrate information, expanded information where it is the case. These are technical elements. We can keep it. You have it. You have in your information, that I think what was important to say about Miele, 2 things. One is it's supporting the implementation of a directive. That's quite important. It's a project supporting the implementation of a directive. Second, it's about interoperability of systems and processes, mainly in the business to administration domain. Do you have any questions on that? So I'll move to the last one. It's a pilot. In fact, when we submitted, no, it's a pilot. In fact, when we submitted the project, it was a project divided in 2 sub-projects. The first one is Miele, as it is, with the final outcome to have the demonstration, the piloting, the demonstration of the middleware at European level, and some national cases that, for instance, in Italy, one use case has been translated in a national single window. In other situations, it's a bit different. And that's it. And the second part of the project should have been to establish the management, the governance model of this platform. Who is going to manage this? Which business rules can be applied? No, this is the second step. What is happening is that for several reasons, there will not be a second follow-up of Miele, but a bit more than that, because also maybe for thanks to Miele, what is already existing and in preparation also for this call of Motor of the Seas is an initiative called Anna, that is where not all the member states in Europe, but at least 15 to 20 on 27, they will work together on the evolution of this concept. I don't know much more details because I'm not involved in, as I was in Miele. But there is this initiative that will follow up Miele with more countries, more member states. So I don't know if it will end up with an operational. I don't think. It's too far too complicated. It's too complicated. It's too complicated. No, it's too complicated. In fact, I mean, it's not achievable. It's not achievable. Coming back to the situation in Poland, I don't. I mean, they are starting to discuss now. I mean, how can they really achieve this in it's tomorrow. 2015 is tomorrow. It's 2 years. It's nothing. There are several directives in European Union that have been issued, but they are really not realistic. Maybe this is not the worst one. I have in mind, maybe you know, Bruno, about the European Electronic Tolls Service. You know? There is a directive to yes, the evolution of telepass at European level, with, and there was a directive saying that, implying that if you that from the management point of view, only an electronic toll service provider can deliver the interoperability of different telepass at national level. But the requirement was that this solution provider should cover 24 member states for 3 years. I mean, come on, it's impossible. I mean, also for big companies, very structural IT companies, I mean, 24 member states, countries, in one for 3 years, you have, I mean, in fact, there is no any electronic toll service provider now. You know? And this was fully realistic since the beginning. Yeah? This is not the one, sorry, the question? We are back here without people. I don't believe
Good morning. Good morning, Alexio.
Good morning.
From UK. So we're here back from our lunch break, which was not a lunch break really, because we didn't have lunch.
No, it was the breakfast break.
Okay, but yeah, brunch break.
Okay.
We say. We, as you already know, we missed part of your great presentation, great class, sorry. And we were willing to know about the VTS systems, the vessel traffic management systems, about the existing ones. Could you please give us a brief explanation on that? And I know it is not a question, and I'm sure that you talked about that, but we missed that part of your presentation. I'm sorry.
No, it's a good question. I did not talk too much about that. VTS, meaning vessel traffic system, is the traffic management system for the sea. It is mandatory to have on board of a ship a system able to say it and to transmit information where the ship is. Mm-hmm. And there are also, in this case, there is a multi-level architecture of this system. There are national VTS systems, and all the national VTS system should mandatorily transmit the information to an European one. The European one is managed by EMSA, that's the European Maritime Safety Agency in Lisbon, and it is and the system is called SafeSeaNet. It's the European system for safety in sea mainly, and the main information is that they should know where the ships are, wherever they are, in the European in European seas. For what I know, the systems is existing in all European countries, not at the same level. Again, not at the same level of effectiveness and so on. I know that Italy is not one of the best system in Italy. Maybe Bruno, you know something more about VTS. It's not, but because it's also in Italy it's been done by ELSA, you know, the VTS. Yes. Also.
No, the big system, the VTS system, was supplied by Selex System Integrator.
Ah, okay.
So,
yes,
because
okay.
at the end, the customer was Guardia Costiera.
Yeah, sure. So from what I know, there are different situations in different countries, and from what I've learned, because I'm not, I'm working in the maritime side only in the last 3 or 4 years, but from what I've learned, there are other systems that are available on not only, let's say, only at EMSA level, but they are available. If you look on internet, there are services in. Maybe they are not covering all the vessels in the world, but there are systems in which you can see where the many ships are. I don't know exactly the origin of this. This is something that I'm really not expert into, but generically speaking, for VTS, the situation is what I have explained.
On Monday, I suppose that there's a specific session about VTS, WIRNet, and other national systems.
You're right. I mean, it says that you are going to visit the traffic control, the traffic control system of the Porto Torre La Spezia, in which there is the local part of the VTS is also here. I mean, is there. Yes, you're right. Bye. So we go for the last presentation. That is another more concrete, probably for you, example of how the technologies can be used for improving the chain. There is a concept that has been developed in the last 4 years. It is called Genova Fast Corridor. It is a concept along the logistic chain between the port of Genoa and the inland terminal of Rivalta Scrivia, and then towards the north of Europe. And it is about the application of different new processes and new technologies to speed up the chain between the port of Genoa and the inland terminal of Rivalta. Okay, this is the main concept in which you can see the strategic geographical position of not only for Genoa, but for the main Italian ports of Genoa and also La Spezia. And this is more the situation of the Genova Fast Corridor, in which we have demonstrated the concept of the extended port, or the railway dry port. It's again a matter of terminology, but the overall scope simply is that you know quite well, you can see, is that the space on the yards, different yards of the different terminals in Genoa is limited. It's not expandable anyhow, And this is specifically before the crisis, the idea was, okay, we can't expand too much the yard available, so what we need is to reduce the transit time of the containers in the yard. Still, for customs reasons, not only for logistics, but for customs reasons, containers are staying in the yard for a long period. The average time that we calculated before the project was something like 3 or 4 days. So the original, as an average, obviously, the idea was to simplify this process and to move as fast as possible the container from the port to the inland terminal. The inland terminal, they have more space, they can enlarge, they have more space, they have more time, they can do custom procedure there, they can do many things. In order to do that, we have been applying a mix of technologies, new processes, new rules, also new rules. It's not only a matter of technology, but new rules, new technologies, new processes. The objectives, as I told you, was transit time reductions and a better quality of the logistic chain. So before the project, we identified some challenges in terms of, from the logistic and technological point of view, a lack of integration of IT tools, obviously the huge deployment of road transport and the less use of rail, while the project is focused on the chain using rail between the port and the inland terminal. The lack of space, okay, I already told you. Some also administrative procedure and negotiation with the Italian Custom Agency in order to facilitate the processes, and also the change we have mentioned several times this morning, the stakeholders' attitude towards changing processes and planning. And the tools to achieve the objectives have been new custom rules, use of shuttle trains in between terminals and port terminals and inland terminals, and an integrated corridor management technology, integrating different systems at technology level and process level, together, mixed together. These are the actors of this project. 3 terminals in the port, Terminal San Giorgio, Volti Terminal Europa and Messina, and the dry port inland terminal of Rivalta, and some other companies. What is important that the Joint Research Center of the European Union in NISPRA supported the project in developing a specific, supporting the development of a specific technology that we'll see later on. That's the electronic seal to close the container, and also the Italian Custom Agency. These are the mix of the technologies and architecture. From the technology point of view, that we have used tracking and tracing, new e-custom functionalities, and e-seal. But just to give you what we do, then I see I forgot to take. Okay, if we have time, I have a video that's it's 4 minutes video about that. I think it's the best way to show you. I will show you. I will pick it up and I will show you later. So what for the rules? What we did for the rules? This is important. Is that we managed all the team managed to change one rule or to adapt one new custom rule. The rule is that the inland terminal of Rivalta is now considered from the custom point of view as it is a terminal in the port. Is an extension of the port from the rules point of view, from the regulation point of view. It's exactly like as it was on the sea. It means that all the custom procedures that should have been done in ports can be moved to the inland terminal. This is only for rules. It's a matter of regulation, not more than that. And you may say, oh, it's easy. No, yes, technically speaking, easy. Easy, very easy. In reality, to achieve that was a wrong process. And if you say, okay, why others are not doing that? Okay, there is a specific reason for that, but Genova and Rivalta are part of the same circoscrizione doganale. It means the same part of are part of the same local custom. Yes, how the customs are shared in the different local agencies is not exactly differentiating region and provinces. You know, they are covering in a different way. So it means that Genoa and Rivalta are part of the same area, local by a managed custom, and they can do it. If you want to do the same in between La Spezia and Melzo, close to, you can't, because they are on two different circoscrizioni. You know? That's crazy, huh? But it's in this way. So rules means change of the rules, new rules, custom rules, moving procedure to the inland terminal. From the logistic chain, one innovation that is applied on a day-by-day basis, specifically in Volte Terminal Europa, is that containers are moved, are unloaded from a vessel to the yard, and the ones that they already know that should be delivered to the inland terminal in Rivalta, they are put in the yard, not in a specific position like all the others, that there is a specific yard management system, but they are put close to the railway side, and then they are loaded on the train on a random base. Okay, they put on shuttle trains that are regularly going up and down, not as a bus, but regularly going up and down between the ports and the inland terminal. So they can move faster, they can reduce the transit time together with the rules I mentioned before. And so in a very faster way, the containers arrive in the inland terminal. And this is an innovation from the logistic point of view. And from the technology point of view, two things. First, we have integrated the systems of the port terminal, the railway operator, and the inland terminal in order to have the precise information where the containers are, and the two terminals can plan their handling operation in the best way as possible, because they know when the cargo will arrive and so which ones and so on. And this is not the same in other situations. Connecting ports, railway, and inland terminal is not the same situation. They don't know exactly where the trains are, which cargo will arrive. It's very fragmented situation. And last innovation, very important from the technology point of view, we have used, I should have somewhere, okay, there is a video to show it, I have to take the video. We have used the, problem is that it's big for, possiamo attaccare quello? No. Non possiamo attaccare, no. No, the problem is that it's too big for the key. Sì, prendi un attimo il computer. Ci do un'occhiata se riesco. We have used the so-called electronic seal. You may know that all the containers are closed with a seal, not an electronic one. The seal is to assure that it's not from one point of the chain to another one has not been opened. And the evolution of this is an electronic seal, RFID solution that can be used obviously in a more efficient way than a normal one. And there are two let's say improvements for that. One is that you can use the seal also to track and trace the container, because it's an RFID solution, so you can track where the container is, reading the RFID tag inside the e-seal. And second one is that something that can assure the custom agency that the container has not been opened inside the link between the terminal and the port terminal, and this lets the custom agency the possibility to reduce some, to have a process of the so-called, I don't know how to say in English, it's called, in Italian it's called il vista uscire. That is one of the many processes in the chain is that not the custom itself, but its operative entity, Guardia Finanza, when a train is leaving a port, should give, okay, you can go. Now it's manual, it's fully manual. Okay, there is a guy of the that is with a piece of paper, or maybe with now with some, but normally a piece of paper is doing something, and then there is this somehow the information that the train can go. No, using the electronic seal, they can read and have the loading list, and they can have several information, and the agency, the custom agency, together with the Guardia Finanza, they agreed for the test, not in still in real life, but for the demonstration, they agreed to avoid this passage. It's automatic, no, and only this is 1 hour and a half time average. Only this, that's really a and nothing in comparison with others. It's 1 hour and a half saved. Let me check if I have the video, because the video is the best way to, and it's really the best way. Do you have any questions on that? Let's see. This one. I don't know if you will. C'è anche il, I don't know, come si dice l'audio, anche se non c'è uguale. No, è un video, è un MP4. No, un MP4. Qui c'è stato. No, si può. Okay, it is working. So okay, this is again the partners with the cooperation with the Italian Custom Agency. So this is where the terminals, the two terminals in the inland terminals are located, and this is the one of the demonstration train that we have delivered with all the technologies, and we have chosen a real train, and so that's the reason why when the train was night, and that's the reason why it's dark in the video, because it's a real train, it's not a demonstration one. So these are a very brief overview of how the systems are being interconnected to the national single window customs. This is the train loading with the what is called the baptism of the seal. So you have to, at a certain point in the chain, when you start to use the electronic seal, you have to say that this seal is linked to this container. It's important to know that the seal does not contain any information about what is inside. It's only the seal, and it contains the same information that are written. sense that ISO code, the code, and so on, but not more than that. Okay, these are some standards, and automatically you can have the loading list, and using some gates to check the RFID included in the seal. There is the automatic transmission of this information to the National Custom Agency system, and this is why we can avoid so there is this direct interaction between the chain in Genova between the Portugal terminal and the National Single Window. Then, okay, during when it was a bit late, the train started at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the night, and arrived in Delta at 7:30, something at 8 o'clock. And you have the same the other way around. The loading list, you can check the loading list, and you can obviously integrate this information with terminal operating system. That's each container terminal used to handle the container. More than that, other RFID technology like the one attached you see here, they are used in order to facilitate the movement of containers in the yard. This is the checking of the electronic seal in order to verify that has not been opened. And also Fabio. I was saying that also Fabio, Paolo, from the Porto of Livorno knows something about it, because they did something similar also in Livorno, custom agency. And this is the link. This is the link between the technologies you have seen before and the typical technology of our terminal. This is a typical terminal operating system, which they manage and they handle the yard of the container. They know where to put containers. They give instructions to stakers of the cranes, which kind of container has to be taken and where has to be put, and so on. And obviously, using some technology like RFID technology, you can be more sure about that the guy driving the staker is going to take the appropriate container to be moved. And the same can be done in terms of have a better automation integration information at the gate, in order to have as far as possible, as soon as possible, all the information at the gate before a truck is arriving. So this is a typical example of how different technologies can be integrated, but again, and last point, but again, together with rules, change of rules, together with a change of processes or logistics ideas, several times. Again, and for sure, having this project, we had the opportunity to have a lot of actors, a lot of stakeholders to discuss with and to create the consensus needed to change the rules first, to adapt the technology to their needs, and to achieve some results. Still, it's a research project, and I did not tell this. It's a research project, so it's not. There are still a lot to be done in order to have this all over the chain and spread in a very effective way. But nevertheless, some very positive results have been achieved, and it is good because it is also in Genoa. This is a good point of we are let's say a bit advanced, but it's comprehensible also because we are the biggest port, so it's good to be at the forefront on this. So I hope it will be not too boring, the technology side of the course today. You will have also this afternoon and Monday. This afternoon and next Monday you will have some more detailed information or about other projects similar to this one. You are going to see something about WearNet. It's an important initiative in e-freight. Sleeport, it's another research project dealing with this kind of stuff. ePort, that's the port community system in the city, in the port of Genoa, and other things like VTMS and so on. There will be more than that. My intention was to give the overview, and so you can better allocate what you are going to listen later on. So thank you very much. Domande? Questions? Questions? Domande? Grazie.